And yeah, you had a stellar college career, averaged 5 yards per carry, which is a hell of a carry. And then you go on to the NFL. You went undrafted, ended up signing with the Miami Dolphins, a team that we've covered extensively here at TSC. And there were not many expectations for this team. There were a lot of trades made, a lot of various offseason, midseason moves. Everybody said, oh, they're going to win maybe one game if they're lucky. You guys ended up finishing 5-11 and ending on a high note. You upset the Philadelphia Eagles, which was a huge win. And then, of course, in the final week, which you were mic'd up for, you guys beat the New England Patriots, which more or less kind of sent them into a tailspin before losing to the Tennessee Titans. Can you talk about just about that whole journey of the 2019 season, not having any real expectations put forth on yourself and the team and being able to kind of finish things strong?
Yeah, I mean, I think all the guys in the organization are, they're competitive and, we love playing football. We don't go out there to lose. And so you hear the noise on the outside, but it's just not something you focus on. And yeah, we just kind of put our head down and worked, stuck to the process, and ended up getting some good wins towards the end of the season. And so those are always fun. They're rewarding. And that's something that we want to build on going forward. But yeah, it is one of those things where, when you stick to something and it's really tough and it doesn't give you the results that you want early on, but you're doing the right thing, and then eventually the results come. It's it's a very gratifying feeling. So I think a lot of guys were stoked about that, but obviously a couple games that we left on the field that we really want to get, this upcoming season. So that's just something we're going to be focusing on going forward.
Did it help being able to play with guys that were kind of in a similar position to you? Some guys were undrafted, some guys were unheralded and overlooked, and all with the chip on their shoulder?
I think there's an aspect to that. Yeah. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but I know there's a lot of undrafted guys that were playing. So, but obviously you need talent to win NFL football games, but talent isn't everything. A lot of it's culture, how disciplined you are as a team, how tough you are, how smart you are as a team. And so, we had a lot of guys come in and out this season. And so I think we're just, looking for guys that fit that mentality. And I'm hoping to be one of those guys over the next few years and play as long as I can and kind of just fill whatever role that the coaches ask of me.
There's an infamous story at the beginning of the season, or actually prior to the season, where you were mistaken as the intern of the Miami Dolphins, and that's led to you having the nickname as the intern. Can you tell us a little bit about that story?
Yeah, so I wasn't necessarily mistaken as an intern. The stories kind of got twisted around a bit, but basically the gist of the story is I go into the dining hall or cafeteria area to eat, and there wasn't many players in there. So I just sat down with one of the operations guys that I knew, and we're just kind of talking. And then some of the operations interns that were there that summer come and sit with us. And so, they're still college students. I'm asking them questions. Oh, how's it going here? How do you like Florida? What do you study in college? What are you interested in? And after about 10 minutes, one of them looks at me and he says, so what do you do here? And I was like, well, I'm on the team. And, he was like shocked, and he was very apologetic, and he thought he offended me, but I wasn't offended in any way. But anyway, so I tell that story to the team because sometimes the rookies get called down, tell a joke, sing a song, or tell a story. So I told that story thinking it was pretty funny. And ever since then, some of the offensive coaches started referring to me as the intern, and kind of went from there.
Hey, there's worse nicknames.
Yeah.
And you had an awesome career highlight, the first career touchdown in your NFL run against the Philadelphia Eagles. How'd it feel to kind of get in that end zone and finally accomplish that goal?
It was awesome. There's no feeling like scoring a touchdown in a football game. I remember, my first touchdown in youth football. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just like the best feeling in the world. And then, obviously when I did it in college, it was awesome. And then to do it in the NFL was like extremely surreal. It's just not many people get the opportunity to do that. It meant a lot for our team. So I was just really happy to help us get that win against the Eagles.
You play with, of course, Ryan Fitzpatrick, a guy who is a veteran. He seems like a pretty easygoing guy, also a fiery competitor on the field. He has an epic beard. He's a guy that's not afraid to use his legs, despite the fact that he's been in the NFL for well over a decade now, a decade and a half, and has taken his fair share of licks. What's it like playing with Fitz?
It's awesome. Everyone sees on TV how competitive he is. It's one of the first things people always say is, he just looks fun to play with, and that's the closest thing to the truth. He's a super fun guy to play with, and he's just a good dude in general, family man, good leader, and always willing to help the young guys. But yeah, when he's out in the field, he's just making plays and just running the ball, throwing the ball. It's super fun to play with, and he's also of course very smart, and he uses his smarts to game plan against the opponent even during the game. So he'll see things and kind of just tell you to maybe run a route differently or whatever it is. And so he's an extremely fun guy to play with.
You've had a chance to play with two guys with an extensive defensive background, Justin Wilcox, Cal, and then, of course, Brian Flores, former defensive coordinator of the Patriots, now the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Can you just talk about the positive influence they've had on you?
Yeah. So, when I got into college, we had an offensive-minded head coach, and I was like, as an offensive player, I thought that's the best way to go. But then when we hired Coach Wilcox, going into my junior season, I realized that offensive or defensive-minded coaches, whatever it is, it doesn't matter about which side of the ball they might secretly root for during practice. It's all about just the leader they are and the type of standard they set. And I'd say actually both coaches are very similar in that they have a certain way that they want the game to be played. They want smart, tough, disciplined players, and they kind of harp on that every day. And it's not some secret play or scheme that's going to beat another team. It's going to be just the stuff you do every day in practice, leading up to the games, the preparation. They stress very similar things, and I love that type of leadership. And so very, very fortunate to be coached by both those guys.
Not only were you a student athlete, graduating business school, doing your thing on the football field for Cal, but also running an awesome program called Walk On Then Run, summer reading challenges for kids, positively impacting young lives. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so going into my senior season is when I decided, I want to play football professionally. So in the prior summers, I had done internships and those sorts of things. And I said, I'm just going to focus on football this summer. But, there's only so many hours a day that you can work out. And so I said, with my extra time, I should do something that I enjoy doing and kind of positively impact the community. And during my junior season, I had done this touchdown celebration where I would pretend to read a book. And that's kind of another story. But so the Cal fans had learned that I, love football, like playing football, but I also enjoy school and enjoy reading. And so I formed a program, pitched it to Cal Athletics. They got on board, and we started the first summer reading challenge, and kids read 4 to 6 books. They filled out a journal, and they brought the journal to our first game of the season, and they got 4 free tickets for them and their family. And we did it this past season as well, and hopefully we're going to do it moving forward.
People, of course, can check that out online, WalkOnThenRun.com. Great stuff, man. That's a really great cause. Now, we have some rapid-fire questions, some really random questions, just for some people to get to know you better. Are you ready?
All right.
Favorite spot in Miami?
Favorite spot in Miami? Does it have to be in the city? Oh, you know what? I went to Joe's Stone Crab with my girlfriend, and that was super good. So I'm going to go Joe's Stone Crab. I know it's probably cliche, but it's good food.
What's your favorite cheat meal?
Cheeseburger with jalapenos and French fries.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Who is your funniest teammate and why?
I'd say Jamal Wiltz is my candidate for funniest teammate. You wouldn't expect it. He's kind of like a quiet, low-key guy. But every once in a while, he just kind of like has these one sentence funny things he says during meetings or in the locker room. And I think he's a hilarious guy.
There's a number of players on your team that have facial hair. You, of course, stand out for being perfectly clean-shaven. Have you thought about growing a Fitz-like beard at one point?
I can't grow facial hair enough to pull off a beard. And every once in a while, when I haven't shaven for a few days, people see my hair start to come through. And I actually have a very red beard, and it kind of throws people off. So every time someone they'll say ooh, you have red hair growing on your face. It's just kind of throws people off. So I don't think I could really pull it off. Maybe in a couple of years when more hair starts to come in. No disrespect to people with red hair.
What's your earliest football memory?
Earliest football memory, probably so I started playing in 5th grade. I was kind of late, but I was gonna say my first touchdown. I played defensive end and tight end in youth football. Like that was what I played, and I was on a really good team. And so they took out, you know how like if you're up by a certain amount, they can take out a couple of players. Mm-hmm. So they took out our running backs and they put me in at running back. And the very first time I touched the ball, I broke a couple tackles and scored a touchdown. So I'd say that's probably my earliest memory.